Hi, I'm John Strong. I'm the large bald man who stands next to Stu Holden when you watch soccer on Fox Sports. You are listening to the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
Okay.
That was quantity over quality.
yeah. I try not to do it too loud because we're in a hotel room.
It was oddly muted, right?
Yeah.
It muffled this or something.
I just lift up the volume a little bit. What's up?
Hello.
baby.
Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Welcome.
I should have went like, Guten Morgen.
Okay.
Good morning. What's up?
At 9:30 p.m.
I don't know what time it is.
Also, did you say Morgan?
Morgan. What up, Morgan?
Alex Morgan's German cousin is Guten Morgen.
Hello. Welcome to the show. We are currently in Germany.
That's right.
We're excited to be here.
We're behind the wall.
The wall it came down a long time ago. Alexa.
Shit.
And also, we are decidedly not behind the wall.
Oh, no. The plan is ruined.
So thank you for listening. If you heard part 1 on Total Soccer Show, welcome. This is part 2. We are here with our friends of the Total Soccer Show.
Colleagues.
Okay.
Workplace proximity associates.
Yeah, damn.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And look, as long as the label's clear and I'm not out here hoping for somebody to put a ring on it, I think I'm fine with that.
Well, welcome to the It's Complicated episode.
So we are here with Daryl Grove and Taylor Rockwell.
That's right.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Okay.
Wait.
All right. I didn't realize that was one of the questions.
You didn't see that? It was submitted by T. Rockwell, and it said, "Did Epstein kill himself?" And the answer is no.
It was submitted by Clinton. It was submitted by Hillary Hilton.
Who could it have been? We don't know.
We'll never guess.
Hello again. My name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerrero.
All right, we are the Cooligans. We're your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer podcast that you've ever listening to.
It's not just that, though.
It's also a TV show.
Yeah. Okay, and it's also not just that either.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's the goddamn Gulliest podcast.
Yeah.
No, it's the Gully Cougars.
With an umlaut over it, bro.
Yes, Gully.
So we took a bunch of... there's usually a lot more giggles on the part 2s.
People are going to start thinking we drop edibles in between 1 and 2.
So
you'll notice that I conveniently left the Epstein part for your episode.
You also brought it in 30 seconds into the episode.
You also scribble it over and over in your notebook. It's weird.
You wrote it with your blood on the bathroom wall.
Yeah, you wrote it into my new tattoo.
So we took a bunch of questions online, and we have answers. Online?
On the web.
On the web. This is so you guys had a bunch of questions on Twitter. I got some questions from our Gully Squad members. So let's
we did not agree to that. None of the Gully Squad money goes to us.
Actually, you know what? Could you guys say hello to the Gully Squad? They love you guys.
Hello, Gully Squad.
Yes.
Give us your money.
There's a bunch of Gully Squad members that
Why?
are
They don't want to
also
follow
on
kids in Europe?
that are also on the Scouting Network.
Okay, can you filter so that it's only...
I'll make sure.
No, please, I'd love to answer some Gully Squad
If
questions.
you don't know, this is a Gully Squad episode. If you don't know what the Gully Squad is, go to our website, soccercooligans.com, hit join Gully Squad, give us your money every month, and you'll find out what Gully Squad is.
What a pitch.
It's why we get to go places.
That's the most honest crowdfunding pitch.
Help
Give us your money.
Okay, so first question is from Felix Palau, NYCFC.
Hey, what up, Felix?
Great dude. He's a guy. He designed the tifos for NYCFC for the third reel. So he asked.
Also a wonderful human being.
Christian, he goes, how gully was that eagle you faced off against yesterday?
Yo, let me tell you something. You would have gone toe to toe with that eagle, and my money was on my boy Christian.
Toe to talon, I think you mean.
No, you only have 3 toes as well. Nobody knows about your foot.
But it was not. I took a photo with it, but Taylor, you also did as well.
It's a goddamn dinosaur.
It's a giant.
Jurassic
bird.
Park taught me that dinosaurs became that, and I get it now. That thing was intense and did not love people getting real close to it. Like I'm sure it's used to it, but
it's
definitely
too close to it.
It looked at you at one point. It shot you an eye. And then it like got closer to you.
Yeah, and that's when I realized love at first sight is possible.
See, I think he didn't look happy, right? I don't get too Peter-y, but I really think like the natural environment for a big bird like that is not the press room.
Or even fly, like at least like, I don't know if LA, I genuinely don't know if LA's do, but like I know like Benfica's and I think Lazio's like fly around the stadium. Yeah. Like it's a whole like eagle, bird of prey flying, and he seemed to just kind of be chilling in a press conference room.
Which his only thing is to like full wingspan. The crowd like cheers, says something, and it goes
but my point is simply that I'm pretty sure that's not what like birds are meant to do. Is like, here's my wingspan. I feel like they're supposed to use that to move.
I don't know. I think birds are like, finally a roof.
Yeah, I do wonder that sometimes when they just you see them keep flying and flying and flying. Like that's gotta be tiring.
Yeah,
it must be nice to just like sit around and get fed. So there's that part.
It was cool that the handler would like whisper something in the bird's ear, and he would expand. I've never seen.
It's an expander. I'll punch you again.
Do eagles know German? Like it's just like a weird. I just never knew that.
Just naturally.
It's their first language.
He did have a very casual relationship with that bird that like you could picture them like throwing back some pilsners or something like that, just like having a casual conversation. Like that guy sucks, right? Yeah, totally. All right.
Can I give you a conspiracy theory? I don't think the bird knows German. I think that dude knows bird.
Whoa. Him and Charlie Kelly. Those are the two.
I think my man speaks eagle.
Oh my God. I wish that would be like,
He knows the language of freedom, man.
But that was pretty cool. I interacted. We had a great time.
I know we got to move on. I just got to say, I did not see him bring the bird in. And so it was at the exact same time that the maybe backup goalkeeper Kevin Trapp was there, like giving some Bundesliga fans jerseys. And so it was a strange, like, hey, did you see Kevin Trapp? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And they're like, did you see the bird? And it was like, I was not ready for that.
I thought you were like, that bird has two names.
The Eagle's name is Kevin. That's a shame.
Yeah, what was the Eagle's name? Attila. Yeah.
Like Attila the Hun.
But it wasn't named after the Hun, but it was named after Attila the Hun, except it wasn't, but it was.
Okay. Yeah, it was a confusing guy.
It was a little confusing.
Also, I just want to say, how great is it that we got to go to the city that has the only skyline in all of Europe?
that was a claim. Great. That was a claim.
Yeah, that was the tour guide in Frankfurt told us that, and all the English people were furious.
I wasn't. I believe it.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on your definition of skyline.
I said to one of them, Sam from the Bleacher Report podcast, very funny dude, great guy to hang out with. I said, which other one? I go, which other city has one? He's like, London. I go, well, you won't be a part of Europe soon. So what's up?
You don't count.
And he was also upset at that.
Okay, next up, we have two questions. I want to get to both of these. So this is just a quick note. This is from Danielle Lefebvre from
she's my Lefebvre.
This is from DC. Great human being.
What's up, Luca?
Okay, baby Luca.
And also, did you know that DC United also has an eagle, or like also has a bird of prey that flies around? Did not know that.
Yeah,
because when I posted that photo.
But it has very little instructions, right?
Well, no, there's Talon, but then there's another one. I'll find the name real fast.
Has Talon been replaced? There was a competition for Talon.
Apparently, it's an adorable name. It's like Mr. Hoots or something like that. That made me so very happy.
Ooh,
I'll have to try to find it before we end up here.
The thing is, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, that's definitely true. I don't know if y'all knew that or not.
Okay, this is from the. She says,
they're not really enjoying that.
But I'm getting a phone call from Hillary Hinton.
She says, not a question, but do we expect a stadium pooping update from Alexis?
So, I went all the way to the Leipzig game to poop.
Yeah, there must have been quite a few because they put.
I really let it go out there.
An 8 spot on mine.
I gotta be honest, the whole pooping situation's been a little rough. I've been basically eating nothing but sausages and pork knuckle.
I don't understand how Germans are healthy or alive.
I don't understand how all the toilet paper doesn't have aloe vera on it. Y'all got some ruined buttholes.
Yeah, no pooping in stadiums in Germany.
No, you know why? There's no press bathrooms here.
Oh, that's right.
That is weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Was I talking to you about the bathroom at the stadium too? That they put it like it was like a gray wall with a gray door and a small sign that said like WC, but it looked like the most like janitor's closet room I've ever seen. I was so confused.
It's not clear what the bathroom and what isn't.
No.
Yes.
Well, so the interesting thing
Taylor said he wasn't sure if what he was going into the bathroom. I'm like, well, I'm peeing in whatever's behind this door. So it might be a server, it might be a janitor's bucket.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, did you guys enjoy this? That the press room, quote unquote, was really just like seats out in the stadium, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in a lot of US stadiums, the press room is like behind glass. Or
Red Bull Arenas is like that where you're sitting outside. I don't mind that as much.
So I like it because you get some of the atmosphere. You're not looking at it through glass, but then you lose out on the food's not right next to you and the bathrooms aren't right next to you. So you got to.
There's a way to do both.
Yeah, I mean, in a 50,000 plus stadium with really lively fans, like we had,
and you can just make the seats toilets. For the press, so you can just
sit there. I've often thought about having some type of suction device on the couch so that I don't have to get up and go to the bathroom. I can just do it right there. So that would be wonderful.
All right. Yeah. You would never leave the house.
Is this a Shark Tank?
Some people may not know what we're talking about, and there's apparently a myth that has been created that
is it a myth or is it some type? There's another word for it because a myth means we're not sure if it's real.
A legend or urban legend?
No, it seems to be like some magic trick. I don't know what it is. There's something. There's
what is it?
What are we talking about?
A mythos or something like that.
Yeah,
but something.
If I poop in your stadium, during that poop, at least 2 goals will be scored for the home team.
And this is an urban legend that you've created by repeating it multiple times, right?
But it's happened multiple times.
It's happened so often. We were just in Los Angeles, and if you haven't seen the LAFC poop story on our show, look up on our Instagram.
It's my Citizen Kane.
It's ridiculous.
I would say coincidence is not causality, and if you spend half the game in the bathroom, then there's going to be some goals while you're in there.
I did not, although the first one, I was in there quite a bit of time. But,
it happened in Minnesota in Allianz Field. This is the first game, and Alexis spends way too much time in the bathroom, missing out on this very unique experience.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. That's why there were goals when he's in the bathroom.
But a bunch of goals were scored in that time. Anyway, so
when you gotta go. Don't hold it. It's bad for your sphincter. Did you know you have 6 sphincters?
So, but Danielle also did ask,
Epstein was found with only 5.
What is happening?
Yes, I'm just giving.
What are we doing?
Giving everyone an update. That's all. Some people don't know why we're talking about poop so much.
What you act like you've never been on a soccer podcast.
Danielle also did ask. She said, "How frustrated should we actually be with the U.S. youth national team's dismal U17 World Cup showing? They didn't even make it to the knockout stages. They lost 4-0 to Netherlands and 4-0 to Senegal. 4-1 to Senegal.
And then 0-0 to Japan. Matt Doyle had the tweet that was like, this just proves that worrying about 17-year-olds playing soccer is for psychos. And I wish I could have that mentality. But the truth is I get sucked into like, who's the next big thing? And this is going to be so exciting. And I, like on this show, talked about how I thought Rafael Vicky was going to be a good coach. Mm-hmm. I had faith in him to get the U.S. playing exciting attacking soccer. Because he was all
good looking and European?
Well, that's part of it. But I think, like, again, he's another one who, like, I enjoyed what he said when I heard him talk. It seemed like he had clear ideas about how he was going to communicate. I haven't always loved the U.S. at youth level. It was awkward when we had some questions about, like, but isn't this guy a great coach? And it was like, well, I think he's kind of, like, basic. And so I was excited to see a little bit of deviation in the way the U.S. played. And I saw deviation in the sense that they went from playing okay to not okay. That was a big deviation.
I mean, it's worth noting as well that the team that did this poorly at U17 World Cup last time and, like, didn't make the quarterfinals had, say, Christian Pulisic on it. So it's almost not the performance.
Wait, did Pulisic's team not make it out of the group?
Didn't make it out of the group.
I didn't know that, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Huh. All right.
See? So it's not,
so that means necessarily somebody on this team is going to get sold for 79 million,
possibly. It might be Gio Reyna. Yeah, I'm saying it's not a good indicator of like how good the team's going to be in the future, but it is still a little bit worrying, right? Because mostly because of the vacancies. I've been reading a lot of Mike Cuartola for Soccer America, and he's very concerned that essentially Ernie Stewart came in as GM. They sort of seem to, what's the word, like disenfranchise Tab Ramos as youth technical director for the past year. So youth coaches who had experience and knowledge and familiarity with this current set of players have been leaving and not been replaced. Mm-hmm. So he's essentially saying that they've let Rafael Vicky come in and just take these guys to a U17 tournament where Vicky has no experience and doesn't have that much familiarity with the players. Yeah. And they've kind of removed a successful system and haven't even replaced it with anything yet. They've removed what was working and replaced it with nothing so far.
And I want to steal a point from Alexis from, I think, our episode where we're talking about Serginho Dest, which is that like sometimes when US does have these players decide to play for the US or Christian Pulisic gets that transfer, it's seen as like, oh, we're doing big things, like, oh, the US is succeeding. And I think there is a chance that Gio Reyna plays for Dortmund this season. I think there's a chance that he makes the senior team this season.
Yeah.
I don't think that means like, oh, okay, we're on the right track. And I think that is how it maybe will be looked at. And it's honestly, it's kind of what you just said is like, well, Pulisic's team didn't do very well and Christian Pulisic's here. And I would argue like that doesn't make things better because we have like one good player who can do stuff. The fact that a talented team of 17-year-olds looked like they didn't know how to play and looked fairly unmotivated at the same time is more than a little troubling to me.
And the worry to me is Ernie Stewart, say, appointed Berhalter, appointed Vicky, and that there is some like consistency between those two. And then those are the two teams that are not playing well right now. So that's a big picture concern.
I want to point out the difference in the run of conversation that you and I had, Christian, and the conversation these two guys had.
Yeah, tone's a little different.
We were talking about sphincters and pooping, and these guys had an in-depth conversation about the U17 setup. And everyone who listened to our podcast is, if they're not Total Soccer Show fans before, they are now.
I mean, well, they're not. They're like, these guys didn't talk about poop at all.
Yeah. But the Serginho does poop. I mean,
but the U17 US youth national team was a shit show. So there we go. So look, we merged these two worlds, and this is why our relationship works so well.
Also, some team, maybe the U.S. soccer team, the U.S. Under-17 World Cup team, needs to pay me to show up to their home games and poop, and you'll score at least 2
goals. I'm more
goals.
concerned that they're losing this badly more than they're losing.
I'm not, because it's so early. Here's what actually upset me is I didn't realize this. We talked to Lutz Pfannenstein. Is that close?
He is so proud he knows how to pronounce that name.
But it's wrong. It's wrong. It's Pfannenstiel.
Pfannenstiel. That guy said he mentioned the Under-20 and the Under-17 World Cup multiple times as part of his scouting. I didn't realize, for him to say those words so many times, that it's such an intense focus for so many clubs. I had no clue. I knew people were scouting it.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was.
Right?
I didn't know it was that. So I am now a little worried for that, because that gives these kids an opportunity. But then again,
the good news is a lot of them are already at clubs. Right? Like Gio Reyna doesn't need scouting.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Did you find that kind of crazy when he was like, "Yeah, I have a guy in Colombia 6 months out of the year, and he's like scouting every single team."
Yeah.
It's made me very interested in Dusseldorf now.
Yeah.
Every time they sign a player, it's hearing how much work goes into it and how much they've thought it through. I'm like, "Oh, this guy's going to be good."
Yeah. Also, Taylor got massive.
How many more Gully Squad
calves,
questions we got? Because we've also got a load of Twitter questions. So
I mean,
can we quick fire through? I feel like
Where did that come from?
Sure,
we
going in longer. These guys just having a separate conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just he has massive calves, dude. Jesus.
Okay.
It's impressive, dude.
Yeah. Well, I
Wrap
noticed
him around me, Taylor.
I noticed when we were playing in the media football tournament in Germany and dominated, and also Steve Cherundolo seemed to have a little bit of a crush on you and those calves. He was very impressed.
My heartbeat generally. I generally get started to flutter. I was like, what's that name? Did he?
No, that he was very complimentary of your ability on the pitch.
He named you MVP.
He did. That was a very exciting moment. I think he wanted to give it to somebody else, and then he didn't. I maintain that statement.
He gave me a
you're too
trophy,
modest.
so apparently it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, so let's go.
Thank you. That's nice.
Let's go through. Let's go through some of these. Let's go through some of these. So this is from Wayne Powell, a big Timbers fan, great dude. And I'm gonna put Brandon Schechter's question together because they're kind of similar. So he says, Wayne says, on a scale of James Milner to Jermaine Jones, how Gully are German fans? And then Brandon, who is currently in Germany, who we were hanging out with, he is an Atlanta United fan that is also German and works in Germany and happened to be in Frankfurt while we were in Frankfurt
In the same hotel.
In the same hotel. While it's serendipitous. It was
Y'all know that that is all the familiar symptoms of a stalker, right? That you just happened to be in the same
we are
hotel.
stalking Brandon.
Yes,
there we go.
I know what he eats for breakfast.
It was so weird. I came into my room and all the lights were off, and he was just sitting on the bed. Like, what a crazy coincidence!
What's up, Brandon?
So, and Brandon asked, on a scale of 1 fire emoji to 3 fire emojis, how fire emoji is German fan culture? So we've gotten to see
40.
it in 2 games. Yeah. It is pretty incredible how
one thing stands out more than anything else is
how you don't let Christian finish his sentences.
Yes.
No,
that stands out to me.
Because I want to say Christian said one of the funniest things. It was when they start whistling as a group of people. Yeah. It's louder than anything I've ever heard. And Christian at one point looks at me. He's like, "Do they have a device for that? Like, is this real? Is that their mouths?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Dude, this is wild. Like, I don't know how you could focus as a soccer player. I had to cover my ears."
Yeah, it's pretty intense. I mean, it goes without saying. Like, if on TV, it does seem pretty wild, but when you're actually here, kind of inhaling the toxic smoke in the air.
You really feel it.
You really feel it, you know?
The atmosphere of the toxic smoke, I've not experienced anything that loud. That was pretty incredible at both stadiums. The only thing that slightly dampened it for me is I just kept seeing these tens of thousands of people just crushing beer nonstop throughout the game, like pint after pint after pint.
Yeah.
We went to get beers today during the game and we found out only non-alcoholic beer served there.
But Frankfurt serves light alcohol beer.
So then
it's
Frankfurt
2%
more hardcore. Dusseldorf
interesting.
Just sipping on beer for the taste.
Yeah.
But suddenly I was like, man, how are they still singing and jumping and they all have it together when they've been drinking beer the whole time? And the answer is because they're all sober.
Is that why there's no TIFO in England? Is because everyone's too drunk to get
Probably.
That's what there's no dance.
And
flags will be all wobbly.
And Alexis, you're absolutely right, because now that I think about it, I was like drunkenly like run into by 2 different people on the walk back from Frankfurt. So
Frankfurt
there's definitely a few beers being thrown
Frankfurt
back.
got litty as hell. I love the culture at both.
Some literal pre-gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, this is a Twitter question. This comes from Kevin Chan. He says, "Did not Alexis try pizza in Germany? And if so, how trash was it, my guys?"
I didn't try it, but I looked at it, and it is all trash.
Okay, no, we don't want to get too, but we talk about pizza too much. This is from
Just answer all of them with "it's trash." Oh wait. This pizza in Scheiße. That means this pizza's trash.
There it is.
You said Dissa Pizza.
That's what it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
I was like, Dissa Pizza. It's trash.
Scheiße.
Whoa, what a
Mario
mashup.
Coogan brothers.
German Mario. This is from
Mario Basler. There you go.
Football for you and me. And they ask, I'll ask the simple question. What has been the most surprising thing you didn't expect to find on this trip so far? All 4 of you answering individually if possible. Thank you.
Can you say that one more time?
I'll ask a simple question. What has been the most surprising thing you didn't expect to find on this trip so far?
Especially what's the most surprising thing?
Yeah. So I'll go first. I'll say that I've never been to Germany before. And when we did the seminar thing with the Eintracht Frankfurt, the supporters Eintracht Frankfurt, their supporters group is so large that they need to have a supporter liaison that basically is the middle person between the supporters and the actual front office.
1,000 fan groups, which I can't believe is true. But
maybe that is SLO. It's like a lot of clubs have that in Germany.
Yeah. So some people may not know that, right? So the one thing that was interesting was about how in German football culture, we hear about what's going on in like Italy and like racist chants and all that stuff. And Germany's really, really doing everything they can to get rid of that stuff. And the guy that we met, he just seemed like a badass dude that's like, no, we do not deal with that. We don't tolerate any racist behavior, any homophobic behavior. And the one thing also, Germans feel there's a certain level of real shame that they feel about their history that they make very clear that they are. It's kind of amongst it's in the culture, and everybody.
Or the Frankfurt Museum sort of hides a certain couple of decades.
Yeah,
but at least
I get what you're saying.
At least some stuff happened. Anyway, the 80s were good.
Genuinely in the least trafficked corner of that museum. It's where that memorabilia was.
Yeah, but at the very least, I like that part because it's very different from American culture where they kind of don't embrace it, they hide it.
Yeah, it's the thing where Germany's like recognized its past and dealt with it and confronted it and is ashamed of it and then takes action to not do it again.
Exactly. And as far as American like sort of culture is like, that was 100 years ago. Yeah. What are you still mad about?
You still mad about last week? Come on.
So that was the most surprising thing for me.
All right. Oh, me next. So
let's go in a
genuinely the size of the stadiums and the attendance at 2 teams that I didn't think of as being big clubs, right? So when I was told we're going to see an Eintracht Frankfurt game and it's against Bayern, I was like, oh, cool, we'll see Bayern, we'll see a big team. And maybe there'll be like, I don't know, 30,000 Eintracht Frankfurt. How big could that be? 51,000, right? So, and then the next game was Dusseldorf Köln. I was like, all right.
Which we had heard was going to be an intimate game.
Yeah, so it's like,
much more intimate.
That's the definition of intimate for them,
maybe
right?
like 25,000 people are there. 54,000 people. These stadiums are gigantic and they're full. Like, I don't know. I think maybe I'm sort of indoctrinated with the Premier League stuff of like, we've got the best fans, the biggest stadiums, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so the size of what I think of as mid-table teams is really impressive and surprising.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if this was like surprised, but it was more of a like, oh, okay, now I get it moment. I've heard so many different European journalists talk about how strange it is to them that American press boxes are behind glass and how you're usually glassed in a box with air conditioning and everything like that, which is lovely when it's really hot, but it does sort of kill the atmosphere. And I've always just been like, yeah, but you're in a press box. You're not supposed to really cheer. You're supposed to be like a neutral person there to report facts. But it really makes a huge difference because both of the stadiums we were at, it's the open air press box. You're up high, but you're out there. You're surrounded by the fans. Like the person sitting next to me on my right today, like was like a 50-year-old Oh no, actually it was for a while. Then it was like a 50-year-old man who was a Cologne fan and was not happy the entire time. But like just to be around that, you get so much more into it. If we'd been sitting behind glass, it would have been like a fairly ugly derby. But because
it
we're
literally
there,
puts a barrier, right? So you're watching it at one remove when there's glass.
Yeah, and so like maybe that's not that groundbreaking to say like a game is better when you can hear everything. But it was a sort of like, okay, I get why people think this is really strange, and I do sort of wish we had that more. That said, I think we got a ways to go before we can regularly compete with the size and atmosphere that we saw on display in both of these games.
Yeah. We also may feel differently if we were here in February.
Also that.
I'll say,
also that.
Where's the glass?
The media food at Frankfurt was pork knuckle, and I love you guys for it. It was amazing. No, the thing I noticed is, you know, I think we're all trained. The one thing holding the Bundesliga back is the fact that most Americans aren't going to understand the chants. They're not going to understand a lot of the stuff that's happening. So you're not going to be able to envelop yourself in the atmosphere as much as if you were to show up and be a part of it. Even though we didn't understand the chants, you got to hear it, you feel it, you know? And that's where the Premier League has a leg up. But in almost every other way.
Because you understand the language when you hear the chants on TV. Yeah.
You can immediately immerse yourself in the game because you understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Even if the accent's a little different or silly, however you want to think about it. I prefer to call it silly. But I'm joking there. I think one thing that I didn't realize is, and as other than maybe the superstars, I don't know that the Premier League beats Bundesliga in atmosphere or in culture, those things. I don't think it beats it in any of those sort of variables. I think it has the superstar names that the Bundesliga is missing. And other than that, I think in every other way, it's not, maybe not better, but just as good. And I don't think as Americans, we've experienced that.
That surprised you because you didn't expect that.
Yeah, because I you know, someone who talks about soccer for a living, you would assume I've sort of experienced that and knew it. Like I knew Galatasaray is nuts. You know what I mean? I knew some of those things. Whatever. I know Morocco has a great atmosphere, but at every level, I'm like, yeah, Bundesliga. I'm thinking to myself like Arsenal and Bundesliga. They all have kind of similar traits. I think they match up really well. The difference is that most Americans aren't going to be able to understand what's really happening. So you're not really going to get the culture unless you go to a game.
I want to piggyback real quick off something Alexis said, because that did jog my memory as to like when you're saying like that you don't have quite the superstars that you do.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, why is that the case? And I've kind of assumed it was like I'm maybe like not paying attention enough and I don't know like some of the up and coming people, which is definitely the case. But Eddie, who's organized this or been one of the main organizers, we were chatting with him yesterday. I think it was you and me talking to him yesterday. And we were talking about how like Germany is like at this point in the year, like cold and gray and it rains. And he was like, yeah, that's why like warm weather people don't like it here. And it led to a much longer conversation about how it's really, if you come here and you're a young Brazilian or a young African and you come here and it's really cold and you don't know anybody and it's gray and everything is closed on Sundays, it's a really hard place to play. And Eddie's point was like, that's why they look to cold weather Scandinavian countries and Russia and like Eastern Europe and places where it's cold. And there's a bit more like what was he phrasing it? It wasn't like discipline, but it was just more of a like, this is how things are, so this is how things are. And so like that's fine. And you're just kind of accept it and you go with it. But if you're from a warm weather climate, you're going to come here and not enjoy it as much. And I think that is a weird thing that is detrimental to the league, is you're not going to have as many like Brazilians and Argentinians coming to play here because it's really, really cold.
But they play in England, so they would if the money was
I guess
bigger.
That's true. That's a good point.
But
if the money was bigger, they would.
Here's the thing related to that is I was surprised when the Bayern, I can't remember his name, so he's an executive, was talking about having Coutinho and what a big deal it was. And I really didn't think, I mean, obviously Felipe Coutinho is a really talented player, but I didn't think of him as like a star so marketable that Bayern are happy to have him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I was really surprised by the celebration
Barca
of him.
and
Liverpool
Brazil.
and then Barcelona. Yeah,
but also Brazil's national team. He's a superstar in a massive country. That's a big deal.
But I didn't think of him as like as big. They were talking about him like it was having a Messi or a Ronaldo or
like Neymar and Mbappe. Yeah, you're right.
I don't think they necessarily want to be talking about him like that way. I feel like that's the situation they're in, is that Coutinho is that player to them right now. I think they would be much happier to talk about an Mbappe or, you know, like, I mean, I think they talk about Lewandowski that way, but like, I think they right now is maybe indicative of where Bayern are in terms of the players they have in their squad and how maybe in going forward, we'll see more bigger name players.
But it's a shame, right? Because you've got like Lewandowski, but maybe everyone's just bored of him, so he can't be such a big star.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the language thing again. I think you're getting clips with like, news like sound bites, and you're getting all this stuff from all the English players and all the people that speak English.
That's true.
When you're journalist or whatever, or even if it's like a sick burn, none of us are going to understand it. None of us want to read the caption. We want to hear it. So it's the language is holding the whole Bundesliga back,
and both ways.
It's just switch to English.
Yeah, dude, go to Bundesliga.
No, but that's what I would say, because like there will be people who will say, like, worth remembering, like Robert Lewandowski apparently speaks like perfect English, but even then you don't have reporters asking him questions in English. Nope. You don't have nearly as much coverage. So even if he could speak English, he's not getting those questions. So he's going to speak German and Polish. Like those are the questions he's going to get.
Either change everything to English or go to Mandarin, bruh.
Christian, how you doing over there?
I'm doing fine. I was just
checking the stocks.
It's all good. We probably have time maybe for one more question or maybe two short ones. So
is it about Epstein?
Sure, yeah, the people are very concerned.
He still didn't kill himself.
This is why they listen to this podcast to get those updates.
Alexis poop while Epstein was being murdered.
That's how he was murdered.
So Kyle Knight asked, he asked, after seeing Christian in that Germany jersey, what's everyone on the pod's favorite vintage kit? Maybe a tough question. I don't know. I don't really think about vintage kits that often, but
I needed time to think about this.
Yeah, so let's leave that one for last, so
That'll
you guys
be the last thing we say,
can think about it. Some on Twitter, someone had asked. This was from Derek Eanes. He says, "Which stadium did you guys enjoy the most?" Simple question.
Frankfurt, Commerzbank.
Mine's Dusseldorf.
I think mine's Dusseldorf as well.
I don't know why. I think
three votes for Dusseldorf.
I was more impressed with the fans. There was a lot of I didn't understand what they were singing, but they were singing and bouncing up and down.
Yeah. Can I jump in? This is the story. I meant to tell this earlier. I'm sorry to keep jumping in. I can only tell this on your show though, so that's why. There's a moment when they were singing back and forth, like the Dusseldorf fans to the Cologne fans and back, and it had the call and response thing that you'll see sometimes. Like college football does that, where it's like they talk back and forth,
like Seattle,
and it sounded like very exactly, and
it
sounded very pleasant. So I asked our German, and I was like, "Oh, that's like they're like working together. Like maybe this is it's a rivalry, but we're buddies." And I asked our German speaking friend in front of us, like, "What are they saying?" And he's like, "Well, they're saying fuck you, and they're saying no fuck you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." Okay,
so you seem to be mistaken. Fuck you.
I hear you fuck you, cordial. And I raise you a no fuck you.
How polite.
It was like, "You are shit. No, you are shit." Is the thing that they were saying.
Lovely.
Yes.
But
I mean, they were 15th and 16th in the table, right? They're both right.
There were an insane amount of flares. The Tifo was massive. Yep. In the Dusseldorf game, and we were watching a derby, right? So they're clearly the energy was just different.
Yeah.
I'll give credit to the Bayern fans at Eintracht. They were
the whole game.
They were loud the whole game, even while the team was down 5 goals. They were. So
they just like looked at the trophy cabinet on the phone and like, okay, we'll keep singing.
Yeah. That's good.
That's what somebody did ask a question. So like Matthew Lundy says, what does the Bundesliga have that sets them apart from other leagues? But like one thing I did enjoy was
commitment to youth.
Okay, sure, that too. But the connection between the players and the supporters after they're warming up, they go and clap for the supporters. And there's a huge. I mean, the supporters are singing before the players even show up on the pitch. And that kind of love for their club is something I've never really seen before.
Yeah, and like there was a moment at the end of the first half today when Dusseldorf had started to, I think, get on their heels a little bit. I think they're a little bit tired. Cologne were kind of getting into it. It was like the 43rd minute, and the entire stadium just like erupts in this like Fortuna chant over and over and over again. Yeah. And it does like raise the end. Like I found myself being like, "Ooh, they're in trouble," and all of a sudden I was like, "Yeah, like we're back into this." And I think that like level of energy and enthusiasm that sort of atmosphere brings has to translate. And I think the players have to be.
Hold on, real quick to piggyback on your point. Hold on. I think what I noticed is most of the times that I see like supporters chanting, it's reactionary, especially in England. Yeah. It's like you fucked up and let me make fun of you for it. Here it seems more purposeful. It means like let's get them going. It's a very different. That's why I think I noticed why because you said that to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Every time, and they got louder and louder as we got closer to the end of the match because they were trying to will him to like not allow the other team to score. Yeah. That was really impressive.
But watching this game,
Christian, 6 more points real fast. No, go ahead.
But watching this game, the Dusseldorf game against Cologne, it does. I was not in even an arrogant way. I was just like, this isn't so much better than MLS, right? You didn't feel that way a little bit? I tactically,
I did not feel that.
Dusseldorf, I wasn't a fan. I hate teams that play with like basically no midfielders and they just throw.
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah. It's just tactically, it didn't seem anything more complex than what we've seen in Major League Soccer.
I think that's because it was that derby, so it was a lot about rough and tumble and just knocking guys over.
Okay.
And I think maybe that doesn't speak well to MLS that it kind of looks like that all the time.
Okay.
No, but I know
it could be marketing MLS where every game's a derby.
There you go.
That'd be great.
I don't know if this is. I shouldn't say I know exactly what you're saying, but I feel like in hearing what you're saying, I get it because there were moments. Is it like Tomer or Tomas? I forget his name. The right winger who I believe scored or at least played the ball in. He I'm getting it wrong, but it's something like that. Like he had so many moments where he had these incredible like quick technical dribbling, and then he like get to the end line, and then he would cross it like into the fans. It was that sort of moment of like moments of brilliance combined with moments of like that wasn't supposed to happen.
Exactly.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Okay, so the final question, which is your favorite vintage kit. Anybody have any thoughts?
Yeah, 93 Arsenal, which the one that had, it was the Adidas that had the red and blue stripes on the arms coming in at a diagonal. That is the kit that I wish I had. I can't find. And I have found it, and I don't want to spend like $600 on it. So,
is it weird that like the USA 94 kit has become so iconic that now it's done like it's almost
gone full circle.
It's almost gone into the point of like maybe it's not that great. Like, do I want to wear that jersey? I don't know. But I feel like maybe that's blasphemous. For me, like I have an old Rangers jersey that I love very much, even though my Irish friend tried to burn it. But that's it. I think it's anything that's representative of the era when we were like, you know what, puffy. That's what we need these jerseys to be, like big and puffy with puffy shorts.
I think you're talking about Puff
those.
Daddy for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, what team did he play for?
Yeah, you didn't know? Yeah,
walk to Brooklyn and get me a soccer jersey.
Didier Dusseldorf. That was the thing.
He played for Newell's Bad Boys.
Yay!
Once again, yours was so much better.
Okay, I think I don't know.
I am in awe of that joke.
Thank you so much. I'm a professional. I don't really, because I didn't really pay attention to soccer till about like maybe like FIFA 2001. That's when I started really focusing on it. But one thing my brother used to do, my brother is a professional handball player. This has come up before, I think. But he used to, every time he used to travel, he used to buy me a soccer kit from wherever he went. And that was like my connection to the sport, really. I never even like, he would go to Belgium. He got me like a Belgian kit from a team. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I don't watch this, but like, oh, this is, so now I have like connection to it and I care about either the league more or the team more. But he would get me, honestly, one of the kits I remember the most that I really, really appreciated was he got me a Thierry Henry kit. You've seen me wear it.
Yeah, the Burgundy 02.
Yeah, and so I have like, not that I care about Arsenal per se, but the kit itself, I'm like, all right, any kit that evokes some sort of memory, those are the ones I appreciate.
Yeah, so I can't really think of one that I like for stylish reasons, but it's more a memory of the 1990 World Cup. Like I love seeing that England kit, because it brings back just memories of watching that team in 1990. Yeah. But probably from a design standpoint, it's probably not that great.
I thought of one more that I think I would like to buy at some point is the Cruyff Holland jersey. Do you know the story about that one?
Oh, with the stripes?
Yeah, because he was sponsored by Puma, so he wouldn't wear Adidas, so they had to make him a custom 2-stripe jersey instead of the 3 stripes. I want that 2-stripe. The 2-stripe,
with 14 on the back,
long sleeve, orange and black. That'll work for me. I'm right with that. Also, while we were having this whole conversation, all I could think about was like the Suge Knight joke about Puff Daddy when he was Puff Daddy, and like I like the idea of an 11-11 game, and Puffy is one of those guys, and he's just like in the background dancing, like he's not actually doing anything. He's just like, yeah,
it's a good goalkeeper, dude. He keeps showing feet. I don't know where he's going.
There you go.
We broke a little news on your show, and it turns out that Kovac seems to have resigned. Not getting fired. So, bam, bam, bam.
One of the Bayern members just like cocked a shotgun. And he's like, okay, it's me. I voluntarily resign.
That sucks because no severance, right?
Oh.
If he does that, there must be somewhere to
severance Coogan.
Well, on that note, thank you for tuning in to part 1 and part 2 of a crossover episode in Germany, in Deutschland.
Yeah, dude.
This was.
But you know how we end our shows.
I do know how we end our shows.
All right, good.
Okay, but let me finish my conclusion.
All right, so we'll do it. No, I'm joking.
No, but this has been an incredible experience. I am more than just elated that we got to share this experience with you guys. This has been really, really cool.
This podcast,
being in Germany, we got to be in Germany together.
Yes, you know, sitting in this hotel room.
We were in DC and we found out we were both gonna be here. We got sort of the invitation. We
I
were
remember he's like, yeah, we got this Germany thing coming. I looked at Taylor. I was like, you going to Frankfurt? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, us too. Yay.
And we really did.
100%.
Like a hug and jump moment.
Both of our voices got that.
I was telling Daryl when we walked into, when we saw the stadium in Dusseldorf, I was like, man, like this is crazy. This is what our lives are like. This is like something to really appreciate.
I never thought I'd be in a game where there were like that many flares going off. Like it was one of those like, oh, I like have seen those YouTube videos, like the compilation of like crazy fans. And I was like, whoa, like I got to be there for that.
We're one of those crazy fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I lit a flare in the press box. They were not happy.
Is that what you call going to the bathroom?
Yeah. Sorry, I farted in the press box. They were not happy.
You shouldn't have held the flare to your butt. That's caused a much bigger flame.
Didn't even pull that wire, dude. It was just a fart lit that joint.
No, man, but this is
on that note.
Yeah, been incredible. Now I'm very, very happy that we got to share it with you guys. So, we do love you very much.
No, we love you too.
So with that said, we're gonna end the show as we normally do. So with
umlauts.
What'd you say?
But with umlauts.
Of course. For Daryl Grove, for Taylor Rockwell, my name is Christian Polanco.
Yes, it is, and mine is Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
Das Cooligans!
Epstein didn't kill himself.